Hello and welcome one and all to the first episode of the Billy Yang podcast for the new year, 2019. I am coming to you live from the WeWork offices here, where I have an office and I do all my editing out of. Apologies in advance for the tinniness. It's very bouncy here on the wall, so you're going to get... It is what it is. It's just going to be what it is. The main reason is I came here for peace and quiet because the office I work out of is a shared office space. But anyway, this is the new year. It's 2019. As I look back on 2018, first of all, I hope everyone had a great holiday break and spent it with loved ones, hopefully away from the phone and social media as much as possible. But I wanted to do the show, I'm not a big resolutions kind of guy because it's kind of based on a prescribed timeline and it's not an organic one. But I thought in the spirit of intentionality and sort of resetting purpose that, whether it's your career, whether it's athletics, what have you, it's just a natural time to do so. There's no... With the new year, I don't think it's also a given that you're just going to reboot, kind of like a machine or a computer, that the inspiration isn't going to be automatic. I can tell you from my personal experience this year, probably came out of the gates a little bit rougher than I probably would have liked, but it is what it is. It's just because it's the first of the new year, it doesn't mean that, things are just going to be... You're just going to flip the page and it's going to be a blank sheet and everything's good to go. It is what it is. But I think if this show can do anything for you in helping you reframe or reset your intention or your purpose, then, let's do this. I think I really couldn't think of a better way than to speak to you guys directly and share some of your stories. I do have a handful of you guys that reached out, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. This could be a total shit show. This could be the first of its kind that we do. But I'm always up for trying out a new format, trying out experimenting with different things. And if you guys enjoy it, we'll do more of these. Still at a stage where I want to experiment and try new things. So, and I think I will. Well, I won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but as some of my Patreon followers know, there is a different format episode coming up. That will be coming up in most likely February. Okay, but before we turn this episode over to you, I figure I'd lay out some of my goals and ambitions heading into the new year, both in work and athletic pursuits go. Real quickly, athletically, as I mentioned in my last episode, my big race of 2019 is going to be the first 100-miler that I did back in 2014, the Angeles Crest 100. And if I'm completely honest, I think 2018 I got a little complacent. I think I need goals, and I was trying to juggle, really focus in on work, and I thought I would be happy or content in having all my athletic pursuits be secondary. And, as the year wore on, I kind of got to a point where I wasn't really happy with myself. And I needed to get to a place where the two can kind of coexist in harmony. I know the nature of what we do for the ultra runners out there is that it is done to an excess, and training for 100 is not anything that should be taken lightly or can be done casually. But, for me to really jumpstart me getting back into shape, I needed to have this scary beast looming, and Angeles Crest certainly is that. So that is in early August. I have, more immediately this coming weekend, I have a 12-hour race in Auburn, a track race that I was gifted the entry from Eric Schrantz of Ultra Runner Podcast. And on a whim, I decided to do it. We were at Desert Solstice, and and chatting, and I guess I got inspired. So we'll see how much of that inspiration takes me. I couldn't commit to the full 24-hour. I just could not do that. So that'll be this Saturday. The forecast as of now calls for some rain, which it's not ideal, but it is what it is. As far as work is concerned, let's start with my most immediate project, Leadman, which is the story about Dave Mackey. We're really busy behind the scenes trying to put together this massive screening in Boulder, Colorado on February 1st. And that's going to be an event that's nearly sold out. So if you are hearing this and there are still tickets available, it will be at the Dairy Center. It should be a venerable who's who in the ultra running scene as far as Boulder is concerned. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited to see this play out on the main screen, or the big screen rather. And I know a handful of you. Oh, by the way, real quick, if there is a photographer, I'm assuming we haven't found anybody yet. But if there's a photographer out there who is getting their feet wet and is a hobbyist maybe and want to help out at the event, we're looking for a photographer. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget to pay you, and apologies for that. But we can get you in, and you can be a part of the event. So. I'm putting that out there. If you want to reach out to me, billyangpodcast@gmail.com. Again, as of whenever this episode gets released, if we haven't found anybody yet, do reach out to me, and I'll greatly appreciate it. What else? I know a handful of you have asked me about the Zach film, and that is still being worked on. As far as the timeline is concerned, it's a little tricky because I am working with a couple of sponsors on the project, and we may do something a little bit bigger in terms of how it gets rolled out, the screenings we do in the new year. And unfortunately, that's all I can say about it right now. It is, I hear all of you guys, and I know everyone's asking me, well, when's the Zach film? When's the Zach film? And, A, it's still being worked on. B, I think we want to go kind of big on this. And C, with these projects, it's just hard to guesstimate exactly, make everything line up, essentially, from a creative standpoint. And then logistically, we do want to have a bigger showing of this and take this to different communities and really engage with everyone. So that is my ambition. That's the plan. So it will, if I'm frank, it will probably be on the later side and not the initial winter date that I had put out on the trailer, but TBD on that. Thank you in advance for your patience. So, okay, that's the only update I want to do. I want to, like I said, we have a handful of calls we need to get to, so let's get to it. This is the first show of its kind that we are doing. So, if this goes a little awry, again, my apologies. So. We have first person up. Let me find the phone number. This is when a producer would be super helpful. Let's make sure. Let's access your microphone. Click the allow button. Where's the allow button? Top of your browser. Allow. Okay.
Nicole speaking.
Hi, Nicole. This is Billy Yang, and you're on the Billy Yang podcast.
Hey, Billy. It's so good to hear from you.
So good to hear from you, too. How am I coming through on your end?
It's fine. I hope that you can hear me. I'm driving home in the car. I hope that's not a problem.
Okay. No, it sounds okay to me, I think. I mean, I can certainly understand you, but we'll see how it comes through on the recording. How the heck are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking. In fact, I was just rewatching the why about your Leadville race.
Thank you.
And, yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you so much for that. Let me just fix a couple of wires here. You are coming through. It's just a little staticky.
Is it? Okay. Do you
okay,
want
I
to
think
try? I'll be home in about 10
No,
minutes
no.
at most. Okay.
You know what? I fixed the wire, and it seems to be okay. So we do have a
Okay.
handful of calls to blow through, but I did want to. You are caller number one, ladies first. So yeah, you're calling from Houston, or I'm calling you in Houston, Texas. Tell me what's up.
Well, not much. One of the reasons I reached out to you is because I know that you've run both Leadville and Western States, but that you live in Los Angeles.
That is
So
correct.
I was really curious what you did to prepare, especially for Leadville. I'm going to be running Western States, which is a total shocker to me because I only had 2 tickets in the lottery, and I promised my husband, I said it would not happen this year.
That
Famous
is
last
amazing.
words. Yeah.
That is amazing. You know, the same thing happened to me, Nicole. I had probably 2 tickets, and I had so little faith that I would actually get in. I was out doing a project, and I was out of cell reception. And it wasn't until somebody drove up and physically told me, and it still took a while for it to really sink in. Where were you when you got the notification? Were you watching the lottery?
I was at the ballet.
You were at the ballet, okay. Like an
I was
amateur
at
ballet,
the
or like?
Nutcracker.
Oh,
At the Nutcracker
fantastic!
with my family. So no, my phone was blowing up in the middle of the event. So yeah, no, it was pretty funny.
Do you recall the first person that actually reached you, or the first person that relayed the message?
My friend Heather Foley, who is absolutely a doll. She is so wonderful. She's a
I
great
know
ultra
Heather.
runner.
I know
Yes.
Heather. Yeah.
She is amazing.
Oh, that's
So
so great.
Yeah, she's fantastic. So yeah, she was wonderful. And I really couldn't believe it. All I could think of were those fainting goats that go tearing off and then they just keel over and die. I mean, you know, in a pretend faint is what they do. But I was like, that's what I felt like. I was like, I'm excited. Oh my gosh.
Well, real
Oh my
quick,
gosh.
I'm in about a week and a half as of this recording. I will be in Houston Marathon filming the marathon. Will you be out there in any capacity?
I will, actually. I'm going to be assisting my friend Bernie Tretta, who chairs the Athletes with Disabilities, so I'll be helping out with those athletes to the
Fantastic.
finish line, but I'm going to run the half marathon first, so I will
excellent.
definitely be there. I'll be
So
so
you-
excited to see you.
If you see me out on the course running around with the camera like a chicken with its head cut off, we need like a secret. I don't know. Like, let's think of something in which we can acknowledge each other because I'm gonna forget all about this interaction, and I probably will for like a 2 Mississippi when you do say what we agree upon. But yeah, let's definitely do that. I'd love to see you and connect in person. So.
That would be great, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need suggestions for anything while you're here in Houston.
Oh yeah, I'll probably hit you up for some food food recommendations at least. So yeah, let's
Absolutely. And,
let's
you know,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say one other just last little small world thing. You
Yes.
talked about your mom being a big hiker and loving to be
Yes.
outside. And I think you guys are she's from Korea.
Mhm.
And I lived in Seoul, and I remember there was a great mountain there that we used to love to go hiking in. It was like Bukasan or anyway, it was wonderful. And I was having a good laugh to myself, remembering all these wonderful ladies I used to see hiking on that mountain. And so I just
Yeah.
love that story about your mom.
Here in LA, they're quite ubiquitous in the mountains that we have here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got into Western States, fantastic.
Yes.
And you did put in for the Leadville lottery, which and I think we exchanged via email. You told me that if you do get into Leadville, you are planning on running both.
I am planning on running it. Leadville was my original plan for the whole summer.
Okay.
We had really good friends who had passed away there 10 years ago, about 2 days before the race, on something totally unrelated to ultra running. But I wanted to run in their honor, the 10th year anniversary. So this has been a goal of mine for a while now.
That's fantastic. Okay, so your concerns are legitimate, but hopefully I can quell some of that, but by the time this conversation ends, I do live quite literally at sea level. I don't know what Houston is. You may have a couple of 100 feet on me.
Oh, no. It's there. We're in the swamp.
Yeah. I think so. I'm going to paraphrase the great Jason Koop, who's a coach, and he trains athletes all the time. When it comes to altitude, I do believe, I think especially as it pertains to somebody like Casey Lichtai, who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, but trains, and runs all these mountain races. I think his advice is just to get in shape. Build that base,
Yeah.
that aerobic base as much as you can. That's A. And B, I think my personal anecdotal little tidbit in my training for Leadville, when I actually ran the race, I don't recall the altitude from a cardiovascular standpoint really affecting me, or at least to the point that I was consciously aware of it. Well, I certainly felt it at Hope Pass, that's for sure. But I think what I did is just try to train as much as I could in altitude. I obviously don't live at altitude, but I think there's something to be said about just getting comfortable being at altitude. And, I didn't do the prescribed, 3 weeks, get there either 3 weeks beforehand or get there immediately before the race. I was out there, I was still, working on a project with Zach Miller. So I was up at bar camp the Monday before. And I distinctly remember the Monday night, I had a hard time sleeping because he lives up at 10,000 feet. And I started to have like a mild panic attack. But as the days wore on, I just became more and more comfortable breathing at altitude. I also got a great piece of advice from Timmy Olsen a couple nights before about really learning how to breathe from your stomach. And, instead of like a shallow, like superficial breathing. So there was a lot of mindfulness when I ran, the old adage of, running the mile that you're in, running from aid station to aid station. I did all of that, but I was also I took note to really just, really try to be present in both my breathing and my foot strike and everything else. So hope that helps a little bit.
That does. That's great. That's great advice. And absolutely.
Yeah,
so it's definitely Casey is a huge inspiration for me for sure with all of her training there in Omaha.
For all of us as well. Yes, go ahead, Nicole.
Oh no, but I was going to say, and I definitely have a phenomenal coach. I mean, I've got great people backing me up, and pretty much I'm just taking a leap of faith, and I know that Emily Torrance, my coach, will have me really well trained. So I just have to just do the work she gives me, and I probably will be the person who shows up the night before and and just, as you said, just try to be mindful and take some deep breaths. I mean,
and get some great people in your corner. I'm sure you're surrounded by lovely people and great athletes. So really embrace that journey and that team journey. I think having that team dynamic and getting everybody involved and excited about the whole thing, I think that's why I love a race like Leadville, is that you can involve so many people.
Right. You have a good team supporting you, absolutely. And of course, it also builds in gratitude for those people who are there to help you, so you just feel that much more committed to making it work out.
100%. Okay, Nicole, I do have to run. We have a bunch of calls to blow through. You were number one. Thank you for being the inaugural caller, and let's keep in touch for sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Billy. Take care, and I'll see you in Houston.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too.
Oop. I knew I would do that. I knew I would cut somebody off. Okay. Thank you, Nicole. We are going to move right along to, let's see, 425. And I don't know how to do this without a little bit of dead air. I could sing to you, but that is probably not advisable. All right, let's give this person a call. This person was at a conference, so they were going to try to make it.
Hello.
Hello, this is Mark.
Hey.
Mark, how are you, buddy? This is Billy Yang, and you're on the Billy Yang podcast.
Yes, how are you?
Did I drag you out of your conference?
You drove me out of the bar. We're all hanging out doing that work bar stuff.
Okay. I know you're a busy guy, but you are caller number 2, man. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Caller number 2 feels like I'm on a radio show or something.
Caller number 2. You are the first male ever on the official call-out show. Mark, how the heck are you, man? Tell us some about goal setting. If you have any big goals for 2019 that scares you, if you have any questions, fire away.
Yeah, I mean, I think like goal setting is a interesting concept. I liked how you talked about intentions, and
Yes.
for me, mine is kind of the next big ratchet up of the race, or kind of a combination of a destination race after last year's 100-miler, and that's going to Wales in May and doing a 200-mile stage race with 5 days and like 50,000 vertical feet. So that's kind of a daunting, scary thing to think about coming up. And can I do enough to get ready? So
Wales. That's insane. So are you making this are you extending this? Are you front loading it, back loading it, a combination of both? Are you going to make a whole family trip out of this, or is this specifically just to get do the race?
It is a bit of both. The family is definitely coming along, and not only my immediate family, but my heritage. My ancestors are from Wales. They immigrated to the United States in the 1800s as coal farmers, and so my dad, he passed away last year, and it was always a dream of his to go to Wales and stand in a little rock church where, our last known ancestor was christened, and his records are there. And so I'll not only be doing the race, but going and visiting my ancestral homeland and virtually kind of, paying off a debt to my father in terms of returning to the land that he didn't ever get a chance to go back and see. So it's definitely checking a lot of boxes for me, both personally and.
How are you planning on involving him on the journey? Is there a keepsake that you plan on taking with you, or this is just like a spiritual one who'll be with you in spirit kind of thing?
I think it's mostly a spiritual journey. We definitely talked about it. I had a chance to meet him after kind of a long estrangement before he passed away, and we talked about the fact that I would be going there, and regardless of what you believe, kind of reuniting in spirit in that rock church. And so it'll be both a physical journey as well as a spiritual one, kind of reconnecting with him and my ancestral heritage.
And I think you told me that Sally McRae, this is the race in Wales that Sally McRae will also be doing as well, right?
Yeah, I found Sally on Instagram. I'd actually watched your films about her and never picked up who she was from that, and somehow she ended up liking one of my photos for some strange reason on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I ended up listening. This was right around the time after she finished Badwater, so I listened to her podcast and was blown away, and then kind of went back and rediscovered her. And I had actually had a couple of coaching sessions with her getting ready for this race. And then later, fantastic. She selected that destination, and so it'll be super exciting to meet her in person. I'm sure she's going to be, way far ahead of me, and I'll be picking up at the end of the day. But it'll be cool to at least see her along the way.
Now, Mark, I know you do some filmmaking. You have a YouTube channel. Is this something that you're planning on documenting as well?
Yeah, I can't. For me, when I was just doing hiking, not running, I always say I won't ever go hiking without my camera, but I'll never actually go somewhere just to take photos. But I like capturing the moment along the way, so I'll definitely be attempting to capture the experience and put something together.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to follow along your journey. We have a bunch of calls we need to blow through. So, I wish I could unpack this a little bit more and talk all about the course, your heritage, your relationship with your father, but maybe on another podcast. If people want to follow along, where can they find your stuff, man?
They can find me on Instagram at Mark B. Griffith, and then on YouTube, if they look up Mark Griffith, I'll be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Mark Griffith and trail running. So.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out your social channels because you run in some really beautiful, remarkable places. So that combination with following along in your training will hopefully keep you in line and keep you in check. So go ahead and give Mark a follow for you people out there if you want to see him training in some of the most beautiful, lush areas you can imagine. And then, of course, Wales. Like, what could you not want to possibly follow about a land as unique as that? So, Mark, I'm going to let you go now. You can go back in. Thank you for taking a few minutes to chat with me. And then, let's keep in touch, buddy.
Sounds good. Thanks for the shout out. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Mark Griffith. Thank you, buddy. Let's go boy, girl, boy, girl. This is somebody I want to, I wish I vetted this a little bit more, but I'm kind of going to go and I think the first handful of people I read through, but then day got kind of crazy. So I didn't get a chance to vet these too much, but this is somebody I do want to talk to. She had a question, I believe. This is Erica from Summit County, Colorado.
Hello, this is Erica.
Hi, Erica. This is Billy Yang, and you are on the Billy Yang podcast. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. You are officially caller number 3, second female to ever be on this. It's not a format change, but it may be a one-off. But I did want to chat with you. You reached out to me and you had a question, so fire away.
Awesome. Yeah. My question is about what's the effect on your personal running life of always working in the world of trail and ultra running, of constantly interviewing elites and big personalities in our sport?
You mean, are you asking me if it's like eating dessert for every meal and I get tired of it, or are you asking me, reframe that a little bit more?
Sure. So things I'm curious about are, does your constant immersion in the sport provide maybe extra motivation for your own personal running goals that you wouldn't have? Yeah. Or does it occasionally, maybe in some ways, kind of bring you down as you're around it a lot? And if things aren't going great in your running life, does it sort of highlight how great they're not going? Does being around, does the time commitment of being self-employed, which is just kind of going in a different direction, but does that make it difficult for you to carve out time for your running goals? And what's kind of been the general effect on you as a runner as you've made a living doing what you're doing?
Yeah, so I addressed this briefly at the start of this podcast. It is something that in 2018 I sort of neglected. I don't know if neglected is the right word, but it wasn't prioritized nearly as much as I probably should have, because if I reverse engineer who I am, and of course, who knows myself better than I do, and if I'm really candid and honest about who I am, there's things that I'm bad at. One of them is time management, and the other is I need external motivation at times for certain things. Case in point, when it comes to my running, I need that thing, that kind of monster, that beast that's looming, that will always get my butt out the door and get to training. And I thought in 2018 that I can just kind of run and wing it and run when I wanted and, squeeze it in between work. I really prioritize work is what I'm trying to say. And I think my fitness kind of fell by the wayside. And I want to reprioritize that, which is why I signed up for a 100-mile race at the end of the summer. I think it's quite humbling when you do some of the film stuff when you're chasing people around with a camera and a gimbal, and they're running at a very relaxed pace, and you're dying either at altitude or up a mountain or down a mountain.
Yep.
It's nothing but humbling. They're almost a different species, but I've never had any like any misconceptions about who I am as an athlete. I am very middle of the pack. That's fine. I think, we're all kind of blessed and gifted with different things, and mine was never a high VO2 max, so it's fine. But I do love the sport despite my shortcomings, and I love telling stories within the sport. So that will always be my fuel, and that's always my motivation. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for all your comments, especially because I feel like sometimes I kind of run off of one energy tank, and if my work takes all my energy, the running just doesn't happen. Whereas I think some people find running to be this release or this thing that they can do no matter how hard the rest of their day was. So it's really interesting to hear your response as someone whose work is very much about running. So thank you.
Yeah. So what about you? 2019, do you have any big race goals? Do you have any resolutions?
Ooh, I certainly have 2 big race goals, and I'm currently struggling with one, given just kind of trying to stay healthy in the cold weather and the busy life up here. But I will be racing my second Black Canyon 100K here in about 6 weeks. And
excellent.
Yeah, and I'm signed up for my first 100-miler a little later in the summer.
Which 100 is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Ooh, sure. Revealing one's goals, always scary, but
put it out there, Erica. Just do it.
Yeah, it's the High Lonesome 100.
Yeah, I heard about that. Doesn't that boast some crazy elevation, or maybe it's at altitude, or a combination of both?
Yeah, both. Definitely both. It's a pretty intimidating course in terms of both average elevation and overall gain. So I've got a lot of work to do.
Erica, go big or go home. Summit County, is that at, I would imagine that's at altitude, right? You're in Colorado.
Yeah, my apartment here is 9,700 feet. So definitely pros and cons to that, but it will definitely be advantageous for my summer training.
That's awesome. Well, do me a favor, Erica. Keep in touch. Let me know how things go. I'm particularly interested in how and I've seen, the handful of people that I follow on Instagram who live in the mountains. Like, interesting to see how they train for a race that is so early in the year, like Black Canyon is. It's in February. It's like mid-February, isn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited for you. It sounds like you have a big, big year ahead of you. Do keep me posted and updated on how those races go. And thank you for being part of the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Billy.
All right. Great talking with you, Erica.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye. All right. So far, so good. We have blown through 3 calls. Let's see. I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit. Hopefully, the ones I did vet will be somewhat varied. And so this guy, if he picks up, is a Patreon supporter who I actually met up with when he came through LA or the Palos Verdes area. And we went on a casual run together.
Hello, it's Joe.
Hey, Joe. This is Billy Yang, and you are on the Billy Yang podcast. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Billy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for writing, first of all, and agreeing to be a part of the show. You're one of the first handful of callers that I have taken on. First of all, how are your holidays? How's the New Year treating you so far?
Awesome. They were good. Super busy. Lots of traveling, lots of family, a little bit of work sprinkled in there. So it's been quite the ride here as of late.
You live in Pennsylvania, right?
I do. I live outside Philadelphia.
Okay, so when I traveled to see Zach, I think you reached out to me, or we had an email exchange, maybe about certain places that I could visit, or recommendations?
Yeah. I mean, Philly's great. It's one of the oldest cities in America where the Declaration was signed. There's so much to do
course.
here.
All right, Joe. So let's get right to it. Tell me about 2018, how that went for you overall from, like physical fitness goals are concerned, and what you have looking forward to in the new year.
Yeah. So kind of like we talked about a little the other day, I was cranking up this year to get to JFK next year, or to enter into JFK next year. Which is usually the second or third week in November. So as my plan went this year, I ran a half in the spring and then a half in the fall, and then my A race was the Philly Marathon in November, the weekend before Thanksgiving. And the marathon went well up until mile 16, and then all of a sudden I got a sharp stabbing pain in my knee, and so I ended up hobbling from mile 16 to 26.
Oof.
Finished a marathon in 6 hours, which was 2 hours to an hour and a half off my goal pace. So
What does hobbling look like? Are we talking run walking or barely
no,
a run?
We're talking one leg straight, and you're just kind of dragging it behind you.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
You did this for 10 miles?
Yeah, 10 miles.
What? Tell me in that. Well, first of all, did you get it officially diagnosed? What was the pain?
Yeah, so it's called ITBS, which is an inflammation of the IT band, essentially just an overuse injury. So I haven't run since the marathon, actually.
Oh my God!
So that's kind of derailed the 2019 training plan, unfortunately. But kind of reassessing, and we'll see what I can put together here for 19.
I don't want to have this come off as a negative, but how are you sort of filling this void or this time that you've allocated on a daily basis? I'm sure you're, on some kind of routine. How are you filling this time? Are you going to PT? Or are you trying to be diligent about the recovery aspect of it?
Yeah, so I'm not going to PT. So this, unfortunately, is my work busy season as well. So we kind of get picked up, and we're working a lot of hours. So it's a double dose of a whammy here. But the nice thing is I found a couple online resources. So this guy named Kelly Surratt, who's big into CrossFit, but also does a ton of stuff with stretching. And so I got his book, Becoming a Supple Leopard, and have been doing a ton of stretches and stuff. And so now instead of running, I'm on the indoor exercise training bike and in the pool a lot.
Okay, good, yeah.
Which kind of gets me back to my triathlon beginnings of where this all started. So it's kind of cool to come full circle, but it's definitely helped ground me that, running isn't life. The true fun part of running is running with others and cheering others on rather than just seeing yourself succeed.
Yeah, the community is a huge aspect of what keeps bringing me back. And it doesn't have to be at a race. It could be in supporting each other through a myriad of ways. And I think as long as you have people to lean on, the unfortunate part of an injury, though, it can make you feel somewhat lonely or isolated. But one of the great things about social media is that you can stay connected. I know there's a lot of negatives that come from it too, but it doesn't have to be a solo journey. There are other people that you can reach out to for support, for stretching advice, for workout advice. I know there's a myriad of other things that you can do to stay in shape, whether it's pool running, whether it's swimming, biking, as you mentioned. So, I think we as runners can see ourselves and sort of paint ourselves to be, somewhat one-dimensional, but it doesn't have to be that way. I for one, certainly one of the reasons that keeps me in LA is that, I can easily live in the mountains, but I do love the other, being able to explore other aspects of life here, whether it's in food, which I really enjoy, culture, exploring different parts of the city, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's a great. That's a great point, though. It's really easy to go down kind of the deep, dark rabbit hole when kind of running or your future goals look forward to, but just kind of remembering what else there is besides running. I mean, I know it's got bigger involvement in some people's lives than others, and it's just like incredible to kind of come back to like the daily, just like blessings that are all around you.
Absolutely. Joe, do you follow Amelia Boone?
I do somewhat. So I'm not super active on social media.
Yeah, that's probably for the better.
I let my wife take care of that. She's got a pretty large Instagram following.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, Amelia is somebody who's, and I really appreciate this on an elite level. She's somebody who's very candid and forthcoming about her injury and, on all the good and the bad that come with it. And maybe if I remember to do this, I'll link it in the show notes. But she wrote an article recently or a blog about 2018 and the things she has to look forward to in 2019. I believe she's still on the mend and she's doing, she's doing a lot of swimming, but she's really kind of embraced, where she is right now and really learning to enjoy the process of getting better at a task that doesn't, involve just miles and miles of running in the mountains. So definitely give her a follow. But Joe, I have a bunch of other calls I need to blow through, but thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and best of luck on your recovery, and keep me updated, please.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it. Great to talk to you, too.
Okay. Have a great evening, buddy.
See you, bud.
Awesome. Let's see if we can mix it up just a bit. I am going to see if this person is available. This is fun, isn't it? It's new, it's different, it's unpredictable, but I'm enjoying it so far. Hopefully you guys are too.
Hi, you've reached Hillary Allen. I'm unable to get to the phone right now, but please leave me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Have a good day.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Hillary. This is Billy from the Billy Yang podcast. As we talked about, I wanted to get you on the podcast briefly. I think I'll send you a text message because what you saw was an unknown caller coming through. You're on the air, by the way. This message is going to totally make it into the show. I'll message you offline. All right. Let's see if we can get her on a little bit later. But for now, let's blow through. All right. There's a ton of calls that we need to get through. Okay, that one is off. Let's see. Okay, let's talk to this person. Doing the best I can here, guys. It's so hard not to chat for minutes and hours with each person. This is fun.
This is Josh.
Hello, Josh. This is Billy Yang, and you are officially on the Billy Yang podcast. How are you, buddy?
Hey, you doing all right? How are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. Hopefully it's not too late. I know you're in Virginia. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, all good.
All right. Well, it's great to chat with you. I have a stack full of papers here that I printed out, so I apologize if I didn't get the whether you had a question, whether you had a big race goal for 2019. I'll just kick it off to you. Like, what do you want to chat about today?
Really, I think I just kind of wanted to say, hey, say that really enjoy watching the videos, and my story of running doesn't compare to what a lot of other people's stories are. I've only been running for about 6 months now. Been running, just kind of looking at some goals for 2019. Looking at a couple of races. They're all fairly small and, 5K races, things like that. But it's been a
All right.
pretty good, year. Ran about 250 miles in the last half of 2018, and looking to trying to record somewhere around 600 miles for 2019.
That's fantastic. Can I ask you what got you started running 6 months ago?
There is a local race in my area it's called the Crazy Eights. It's an 8K race that generally it's held the world record 8K time for a few years, and they've ran the race for 25 or 30 years, and it's just a local community event, and I had always known about it and kind of wanted to run it, and I decided I want to do it this year. I didn't plan to do that for about a month before, so I went from not running any to attempting to run it in about a month. I got through it. I did okay, but after doing that, it just kind of clicked, and really enjoyed doing it, and try to get out there every day or two, and put a few more miles on and keep doing it.
Outside of the race, do you have any other external or any other motivations, like general fitness? Are you trying to lose weight? Anything like that?
Really, it's for me. It is a matter of just trying to stay healthy, just trying to live and do well, and that kind of thing. I've never really been a fitness-minded person. I was, as a child, I was pretty much home playing on the computer, doing stuff like that. And as I've got older, kind of realized, I probably need to try to, live and be healthy and stuff, and try to get to the gym, do a little bit of strength training, really, but just mostly to help me be able to run better.
Yeah. And I would never presuppose that what we're doing, I do think what we're doing is certainly on like the extreme side of things. When it comes to the 50 milers, 100 milers, now 200 milers for Christ's sake. I mean, it's getting a little out there, and but I think overall, the lifestyle spent in between these events, which on paper I know sound extreme, and I still have a hard time explaining away why we do what we do. I really do think it's more about the lifestyle, and as I mentioned with the previous caller, the community. I think runners, and there's great people all over the world, but something about the trail running community in particular, and just the running community in general, generally seem to be very goal-driven, like-minded people, caring people, empathetic people. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the throes of a ultra marathon race or even a marathon where you're looking over at the person suffering next to you and you know exactly what they're going through. And so whenever I'm out there volunteering or whenever I'm out there cheering people on or filming people, it's the same thing. I know what they're going through. Maybe not exactly in the moment specifically, but when somebody's suffering or has like the 1,000-yard stare, it breeds a lot of empathy, I guess is what I'm saying. So, I'm really glad you're getting out there. Don't downplay your accomplishments. We all started somewhere. Your story sounds somewhat similar to mine in that, I just decided to sign up for a half. I don't know that I had a particularly great why beyond just a buddy of mine wanted to do it or suggested we do it. And it just kind of took on a life of its own. So we all started somewhere.
Sure. And it's something that me and my wife both really got into and just really enjoy watching the videos, listening to the podcasts and things like that, and kind of following the community. And it's something that, I don't know that a 100-mile race is ever in my future, but it sure does make for, an entertaining sport to kind of follow and watch and learn more about, and, kind of keeps us motivated, and, at least feeling like a part of kind of what we're doing is similar thing to what other people are doing, just at a lot less distance and mileage,
Yeah, agree 100%. Okay, Josh, I have a lot of other calls I need to blow through, but really appreciate taking the time for you to pick up the phone call and chat with me. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and best of luck on your future endeavors, and, let's stay in touch.
Hey, that sounds good. I appreciate it. You have a good evening.
You too, Josh. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Sorry. So the setup here, and I don't know if you picked up on that text message ding, but it is all kind of connected via my computer. That's how I'm making the phone calls. All right, let's try. Okay. Easy now. Okay. Let's go through a couple more calls. This has been enlightening, to say the least, to learn about ways I could be a little more efficient and let's see. Okay, what to her next? Oop. Will I get my first voicemail? Oh no, wait, Hillary.
Your
what group?
call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Sorry, Mark. Yeah, I think Mark was talking about some of his goals for, he signed up for Old Dominion, and he lives in Virginia Beach, and that was his big goal for 2019. Sorry, I'm getting nasally all of a sudden. Okay, couple more. This is fun. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. I love doing this and connecting with you guys. It is getting late, though. I have to be mindful of that. Ooh, I guess the later I get, the more doors that are going to be slammed shut in my face. I have a lot of East Coast people, it seems like. That's interesting.
Hi, you've reached Stephanie Whitmore with California Casualty. So sorry I missed.
I'm sorry too, Steph. What can I tell you? She wrote me a lengthy email about some of her goals. She sounds like a really strong runner. But we'll try to connect another time if I do this again. And I think it's safe to say that I will. This is certainly changing things up a bit. Okay. Let's make this a good one. Let's make this a good one. All right, buddy, let's try you. Did you give me a phone number? Yes, you did. If I were to do this again, I would have a number and a phone caller screener on staff, but I don't. So let's call another person in Texas. What time is it in Texas? Texas is 2 hours ahead. Man, I am striking out now. It was going so smooth, like every person picked up.
Your call has been
right.
forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Who was that? That was Jeff Thomas. Sorry, buddy. It would have been great to chat with somebody from Texas again. All right. If I strike out 2 more times, this podcast will have to end. 675. Oop, don't say it out loud. All right. That's somebody from Germany. Unfortunately, I cannot call anybody in Germany right now. Oof. pick up the phone, Michael.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Okay. I think next time, with a little more prep, I can give these people a bit more of a heads up. As of recording right now, it's probably a little bit after 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So if I know my people, they're probably either getting ready for bed or in bed. All right, I'm going to try one more Hail Mary. And let's end it with a good one. All right. Pick up. Oh. How do I turn this off? I don't know where 270 is, area code wise. Hopefully it's not the East Coast. Oh yeah, North Carolina. What are you gonna do?
This is Erin. Leave a message.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Aaron. This is Billy Yang calling with the Billy Yang podcast. I'm just realizing it's after 9 o'clock your time, so I'm sorry that I missed you. You're probably in bed, being the good runner that you are. I'm sorry for my nasally voice. I just called to say thank you. Wish you a happy new year. I hope your goals are knocked off one by one, little by little, and you have a fantastic year. Thank you for being considering being a caller on my show, but maybe we'll catch you next time. Okay, take care. I'm horrible at leaving messages. Jeez Louise. All right. You all, I think I'm striking out enough. I still, as you can see, I still have a handful of calls, but it's just not in the cards, man. It's getting late. It's only 6:10 here, but it's all right, people. Come on. It's so popular, right? I don't know how to turn that off. Okay, so let's see. In closing, what is my spiel? Thank you for listening to this episode. I would really appreciate it if you rate and review the show on iTunes. Again, I don't know exactly what it does, but it's supposed to help the algorithm. Seems like what all the people say at the end of podcasts, so please go and do that. 5-star it if you feel it worthy. If you think this is 0, I don't know what you're doing tuning into the show to begin with. Okay. Some of the people I need to shout out that have supported me beyond a certain level on Patreon. I need to shout out Tom Barbieri from Reston, Virginia. I feel like I talked to at least a couple people from Virginia, so thank you, Tom. Jason Ramos from Squadron Unit 15173. I want to shout him out. I don't know if that means he's off outside of the country or within the country, but thank you, Jason, for your support and, of course, more importantly, for your service. David Graff from Tallahassee, Florida. I did not talk to anybody from Florida yet, but we will see if we can change that. And finally, Jan von Thor. Hope I said that right, from Zurich. Again, international people. The fact that I'm recording this in a small office in Manhattan Beach and somehow it's getting out there to Zurich and beyond just blows me away. The time that we're living in is truly remarkable. And of course, Gary and Tammy Jones from Iowa, Michael Langley, Mark Grabowski, Mark Griffith, and Wayne Chan. Thank you, producers. Thank you, supporters. Social channels, Billy Yang Podcast on Instagram, at Billy Yang on Twitter, Facebook, Billy Yang Podcast, and my email, billyyangpodcast@gmail.com if you want to reach me for either this or for anything else. And, oh, you know what? I did have I did want to go out on, somebody wrote me this beautiful email from Germany. And of course, among the paper, I can't find it. Okay, we'll save that for the next podcast. Like I mentioned, I am kicking off the year doing a crazy 12-hour race in Auburn, California at Placer High. So if you're going to be out there, we'll be comrades in misery, I guess. Fingers crossed for no rain, but if it rains, so be it. I'll bring all the appropriate gear. And that is about it. Hope you guys have a fantastic 2019. Really go out there and smash your goals. Let me know some of your journeys that you plan on going in the new year. I love this. This was fun. This was fun, just connecting with you guys and hearing your voices and like the old way of just like talking to each other instead of this all the time is something that I still value a lot. So thank you guys for listening. Until next time, this is Billy Yang signing off, wishing all of you great health and great running in 2019. Mwah.